There we go. Restream is being a little slow on us. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, podcast fans of all ages. I am Dave Valente. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. Joining me tonight is Dan Layman Fishman.
What's happening, Dave? I have a special
What?
announcement to make. My appearance here tonight is sponsored by Blood of Tyrants,
Blood of Tyrant.
Liquid Freedom, friends of the
Yeah.
show. I bought a case on Amazon, and I could not be happier with it. And I'm
Yeah,
actually
Dan
not being
Berman's,
paid to say that.
Yeah, Dan Berman's
Yep.
energy drink
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
Yep. It's really good. And the thing that I like about it is that it's also 0 calories.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect thing for me to be drinking instead of alcohol late at night. So if you think I'm especially sharp and on, as the kids say, on fleek tonight, then that will be because I'm subsidizing.
There you go. Happy New Year, Janice, and Happy New Year to all the fans of the Political Deep Dive. Thank you for joining us tonight. Whether you're out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're at, give us a like, share, subscribe, comment. It helps boost the show's reach. And but anyway, it is a brand new year, Dan.
It is. I'm excited.
You know, it got off to kind of an auspicious start with a couple of really bad incidents, one in New Orleans, one in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you get a bunch of people together celebrating and doing things, people who are not happy with the way things are going,
Well,
will want to make their point.
It's interesting. So let's, I guess we can talk about the New Orleans one first.
Yeah.
We've seen more of this, attack with a car or truck. This one was particularly interesting in that it was a Ford F-150 Lightning. And as it turns out, there is, among people who drive electric vehicles, a desire to overthrow the government. No, I'm just kidding. No correlation there. But ahoy polloi, Daryl and Craig and Janice. But what isn't as asynchronous is that this man was also an Army veteran, and
both of
these guys were
attackers
veterans.
are
yep
U.S. military.
And I think if you go back quite a ways, you'll find about 50% of the domestic terrorism. You're looking at veterans, right?
Timothy McVeigh was a veteran, wasn't he?
Who?
Timothy McVeigh.
Timothy McVeigh absolutely was a veteran. And the guy in Charlottesville drove his car through the crowd. And, it's one of those things. Now, I will say, I actually think it has nothing to do with that. I think that it's kind of like the statistic of, and it was very disappointing, in a conversation with somebody on Facebook.
Hey, Sean.
Where they said, can't you, Dan, will you admit that 50% of the murders in the country are committed by Black people? Now, I do want to say that statistically that is true. It's according to the FBI, and that's without a doubt disproportionate. However, it has nothing to do with the fact that they're Black. It has to do with other. It's just exactly the UT Tower shooter was a Marine, famously talked about in Full Metal Jacket. The fact that these guys are in the Army, or in the military, I don't really think that it's saying that the military makes people like that. It does talk a little bit about some of the people who are drawn to service, who are drawn to bear weapons. But it is not saying that veterans are like that, or because there has been some talk about that in Democratic circles. And I don't think that's a fair commentary.
No. And I mean, you could say something about the, especially Gulf War, anybody who's served in the Persian Gulf, that perhaps there's a PTSD linkage. But I mean, again, people get PTSD from a variety of things. Don't even, even military members who never stepped foot off of the North American continent will get PTSD. They get into a bad accident, a bad training accident. One of their close friends commits suicide.
Yep.
Yeah, PTSD can be, you don't have to be a veteran to get PTSD either.
Oh, for sure. For
Um,
sure.
so yeah, I mean, I'm not ascribing that. Well, now the military is turning against the U.S. Wants to commit domestic terrorism. You know, even as much as saying teenage kids are going to turn against schools and do school
Yeah,
shootings. Like
exactly. It is a great point. Most school shootings are done by students.
yeah, and 99.9999999% of kids will go to school,
Yeah,
go
exactly.
through every day of their school, not face
Yeah.
a incident like that or commit an incident like that. So,
Yeah,
man, but
it's a crazy thing. I do want to talk too about the fact that I think we're going to find out that there was a little bit of they didn't set up their blockades in the right place around Bourbon Street and stuff of that as
yeah,
well. But that's all just just a minor thing, really. If you're a person with a car and you want to run people over on New Year's Eve, there are plenty of places to do it.
sure.
There's Bourbon
Yeah,
Street happened to be very populous, and in many ways, we're lucky that it wasn't as many people killed.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I mean, what is it? 12, 8, 15?
it's over 10, but
Yeah.
under 20. Um, and so I think that when we look at terrorism attacks, and then the other thing about it is that this guy claims sympathy with ISIS, and I guess we just found out today that from June of last year till July of this year, he was living in Egypt,
Oh,
which interesting.
interesting.
But it's interesting too that ISIS is so far out now, right?
I mean, they pop up. I mean, it's a recurring thing. I mean, and he did have like an ISIS flag. I mean, it's like a Trump flag on the back of
Yeah,
his truck.
yeah, exactly.
Um, you know, yeah, you can talk about allegiances to whatever. ISIS isn't even really a popular group within
Exactly. Exactly.
Egypt or any of those other countries.
Syria, right? Assad was
Yeah,
fighting against ISIS. Iran is fighting against ISIS,
yeah,
right? Right. I mean, everybody refers to them as those crazy bastards. And
ISIS,
so
ISIS,
it's
baby.
not like, him saying that he has an allegiance to ISIS and then carries out an attack in New Orleans makes any sense at all.
Well, it reminds me of when there is an attack on or something happens with I've even seen it with school shootings or mass shootings where there's a rush to identify the political registration of the
Right.
shooter. And like I don't think that with very few, like the guy who shot at Donald Trump, I don't
In
think he was
Florida
doing it from
or in
the
Pennsylvania.
the Pennsylvania one.
Okay.
The guy that shot him and that his gun at his golf club. I think he was just I think they're both pretty much nutters.
Yeah.
Um, I think I don't think his politics had anything to do with it. I think it was more Jeffrey Epstein that had anything to do with the guy in Butler, Pennsylvania. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I don't like the idea that we dig into their aha. Well, they're a Democrat. Of course, they're going to go after people and the Democrat doesn't want gun control in this case because he shot up a bunch of Republicans or whatever. It doesn't. People's voter registration means so little now. Um, I wouldn't put any stock in anybody's political registration unless they actually put out a manifesto and say, I'm killing him because I'm a Democrat or I'm killing him because I'm a Republican and I'm angry.
Even then,
Even then, yeah.
I don't know that I would believe it
Yeah, it's not
because
like
there's so much fake stuff now.
yeah, it's yeah, and it's not like the Republican Party if somebody shot a Democrat in the name of the Republican Party would be like, "Yeah, right on." They'd be like, "No, oh, want to do this."
Sean's point is pretty funny. He says, hoping it turns out the ISIS flag is parody of the sex toys. It would be pretty funny if they were to like come out with all sorts of misinformation, saying so. And not only did he have the ISIS flag, but he had the ISIS branded butt plug, and he was wearing it at the time. And he also had the ISIS ham
ISIS
sandwich.
double-headed dildo.
Exactly. He had the ISIS ham sandwich, and whatever, all these different
And
things.
Daryl, we are happy that you're doing better. And
We are all, yeah. I am also glad that Daryl is recovering
yeah.
from some unpleasant stuff.
Sepsis is no joke. My wife had it last year, and she was on antibiotics in the hospital for a month and a half, and she actually had to do at-home antibiotics all the way until mid-May. So I mean, she was, yeah, it's no joke.
Yep. Well, I'm glad that Aaliyah is also well.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
I mean,
our
she's dealing with
members
me, so I mean, I don't know how well she
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
But
All right. So
um,
the New Orleans guy. The only interesting thing about it is I really was surprised that there was nobody around with a gun because it's Louisiana. I'm pretty sure that private carry is concealed carry, or
yeah, I don't
Louisiana
know.
is
I mean,
a constitutional carry state.
yeah,
But
I'm surprised nobody,
but
and we don't know. I mean, maybe they did.
well, maybe. The other thing though is that Bourbon Street probably doesn't have many Louisiana residents on the street. It's probably almost entirely tourists
Yeah,
who
yeah.
got there by plane, and plus everybody was there for the Sugar Bowl. So I guess I take it back. I guess I'm not that
We
surprised.
don't talk about the Sugar Bowl in this household.
You couldn't really have been rooting for Georgia.
My wife is we have property like an hour south of Athens.
Yeah, that's in
My wife is
Greece.
a huge Georgia fan. So yeah,
Interesting.
it was a sad
Well,
weekend.
I will tell you that I was rooting for
The Neuter Dames.
no. I was rooting for Texas Georgia 3 in the final because I don't know if you saw the last time they played, but
Oh yeah, I've watched both of them.
Bevo
They wouldn't let
Uga,
him in there. That's right.
exactly because the last time Bevo had been there'd been an altercation between Uga and Bevo.
Yeah.
And for people who haven't been around bulls, 8 men cannot hold a bull back.
No.
It's ridiculous. Bevo had his handlers, but there's a point in time which he's like, why is that dog barking at me? And sort of plowed through the fence, and all the guys are trying to hold him down. And the dog keeps.
Have you ever watched bullfighting?
Yeah, exactly.
Bull riding? Like there's yeah.
So
Eventually, you
powerful.
just gotta say, well, somebody go scrape up Uga.
Right, exactly. So I will say that I mean I don't know. I didn't care for Notre Dame. I was surprised Georgia came out flat.
Oh, I'm not.
But
They've done that all year.
well, I also think that in retrospect, if we go back, every
Oh,
team that had a bye lost.
yes. Every team that had a bye lost. I mean, I think we undercount the impact that Carson Beck being injured in the SEC championship game and being out for the playoff.
Oh
That
no, see that I disagree
for
with. I think this guy is better than Beck.
I think he's going to be better than Beck.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed with Carson Beck, and I think a lot of the issues that they had in the first half of many of the games this season were laid
I think if
solely
Beck
on the shoulder
stayed,
of Beck.
I think if Beckett stays in the Southeast Conference championship game, Texas would have won.
That's a possibility because he
They
looked
had
like
3 points
dog
in the first quarter, in the first half.
Yeah, but they've done that all season. It seemed like they like the Georgia Tech game.
Yeah, yeah.
They were
They underperformed, but I mean
behind
they did.
huge.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think though that I mean Notre Dame's not bad, but it's going to be very interesting to see. I think the real game is Ohio State and Texas. Texas Texas plays at whatever level their competition is. If competition is terrible, Texas plays terrible. If competition is good, Texas plays good. The only team they've
Yeah.
lost to is Georgia,
Yep.
and you
Now
look
they're
at
out
what
of the
happened.
way, so
Well, somebody made a great analysis. They said, you look at the Arizona State game. What happened? Texas comes out commanding lead, then essentially falls asleep, and then hits three unstoppable scoring plays in a row and wins the game. And
that was the damnedest thing. Like that first off, it's what, 4th and 13,
yeah,
and you let a guy get behind you? How the hell does that happen?
the only deep threat that Texas has.
It still
But
doesn't matter. There should be a guy standing underneath the goalposts.
yeah, yeah, I mean it's for sure. I think that they maybe they sold out a little bit to stop, a 15-yard pass, and they didn't think they were going to try for a 30-yard pass. But
Ooh,
whatever it is, it's pretty crazy. I can't believe that they had a play call and the quarterback threw the ball for that play.
yeah. I mean,
But I mean, Texas Sark is I can't understand his game play at all. I mean, Texas should win so many games just by running, and they don't do it. Like, I mean, they should have they should have buried Arizona State, and they could have run the clock out.
oh yeah.
Although
I mean, because they got out to a pretty significant lead. It was like, oh well,
they were up 24-5,
yeah,
uh, and then 24-8. They were up 24-8 with 6 minutes left,
yeah.
and they still let Arizona come back. Not all props to Scatabo, who certainly looked amazing out there. But
Then probably going to get poached by an SEC team, but the young head coach of the Sun
oh
Devils.
no, it's Scatabo's. I'm talking about the running back.
Yeah, I'm talking about the coach though, the young
Oh,
coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils. Probably will get poached. Although I think that I know as much as people have complained about the college football playoff, and I think it's going to be good in that. Um, Hold on a second. Joe's here. What's
hey
up, Joe?
Joe, how's it going?
Gentlemen, great to see you.
Just in
So
time for some Penn State conversations.
yeah, well, so I was talking about how I think the college football playoff. The one thing I think it's going to do is not so much democratize college football, but it's going to allow people to not have to create super teams to get into the playoff. Like you don't have to go to Georgia to get a really good chance at going to the playoff. You could go to a Boise State or
Well,
Arizona
yeah,
State or
so we'll give Arizona State a pass because they played okay, but Boise State and SMU, those guys looked terrible. I,
well, the problem with those two conferences,
right?
ACC, well, in Mountain West, I mean, there's the one thing that the top non-Power Five gets a guaranteed playoff
Yeah,
spot. Um, the I don't know that they should have gotten a week bye week.
yeah.
Um,
Well, so that's
those
that's
teams
the
were
thing, is that I think they are going to have to change the seating,
yes,
because I mean that clearly was a mistake. The idea that right Boise State was somehow one of the four best teams in the country was ridiculous.
yeah,
And as it was, you look at
and I think if you have Boise State in the first set of playoff games, you have a more competitive. Like
right,
it doesn't feel like Texas should have been in there, or Ohio State should have been in there,
right,
or Penn State should have been in the first round of games.
exactly, right,
Those teams
right,
should have been in the top four,
right,
and then Boise State could have played SMU and might have had a much more competitive game.
right. That would have been an interesting game, and then one of them would have gotten crushed by one of the power things. It
Yeah,
is interesting to say that the four teams that are left are four teams that have multiple national championships in their background, and so it's nice to see real venerated programs. Although as I like to point out, which conference has the most national champions in it?
I'm going to guess the SEC.
You
I'm gonna
would be
guess
wrong.
the Big
How
Ten.
could I
There's
be
there is
wrong? Dan, how
there is
could
a
that be?
there is a college that has more national championships than all of the SEC combined.
Wow.
That college is Harvard College.
No
Oh, the
kidding.
Ivy League.
The Ivies won the national championships from like 1880 to 1930.
Yeah.
Like a 40-year run of just pure domination. Now, nobody else is playing at that point in time, and they weren't in the Ivy League. However, they are all in the Ivy League now.
So, interesting piece of news with the Ivy League is that for a few decades now, Ivy League has not allowed their football champion to play in the playoffs, and they're in the FCS division. That has changed. The next season, they're going to be eligible for an automatic berth to the FCS playoffs. So, good for them. I mean, kind of sucks that you're. Well, it doesn't suck that you're in an Ivy League school, but it sucks that if you do really well at an Ivy League school, there's no chance for you to progress in the playoffs. Now, it's harder with to compete against like a North Dakota State, but
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that if you are a program that doesn't give out athletic scholarships, you're never going to get the world-class talent.
But,
You know,
you think
Harvard
about
had Mike or
Fitzy. Harvard had Fitzy.
Fitzmagic. Yeah, Fitzmagic.
Oh yeah, no, I mean but those are guys who go there not because they think they've got NFL careers ahead of them.
Oh,
They go
yeah.
there because all the guys who go to Harvard, Matt Burke, Jason Garrett went to Princeton. Those guys all graduated with Ivy League degrees. They didn't leave after 2 years that's the thing. It just turned
just to
out that
run
when they
for
got
office.
exactly, just turned out that when they got to playing, they were good. And I mean, I
Yeah.
love Fitzmagic.
Well,
He was Joe.
Yeah,
Go
he was
ahead.
a great QB.
I'll make a couple comments if I may. When it comes to the national championship, I think it'd be great if we could get Kennesaw State in there. I think that'd be amazing.
It's gonna be a long time, man.
It's going to be a long time. But I'll say, too, one more thing. So you guys know me. I've long wanted to be a radio broadcaster. I've long wanted to be a game show host. There's a certain game, and they've never met each other. There's a certain game that I want to see happen for the national championship. I want to see Oregon State and South Carolina duking it out.
The
Cox
Gamecocks and the Beavers.
Yeah, the Cox and the Beavers. I want to hear that game. Can you hear Jim Nance? Well, what do you think, Stan, about that first half? Well, I don't know, Jim. I
don't know.
I think the Cox were really pounding the Beavers throughout that half. I want to hear that game call.
Yeah,
When I was a kid, there was a minor league baseball team in Portland, Oregon, called the Portland Beavers, and our hometown team, the Albuquerque Dukes, played them in a doubleheader. And the headline the next day was "Dukes split the Beavers."
Yeah.
That's great.
MIT's animal is the beaver. And at one point in time, when I was joking with my dad, who's an MIT alumni, about it, I'm like, "The beaver? Why?" And he's like, "It's nature's engineer." I'm like, "Well, that makes a little sense, I guess." And you have no sports teams.
I'll tell you what. I was at work. We were checking out the colleges with the strangest mascots. I've long marveled at Dartmouth. Dartmouth, the Big Green. What the hell is that? The Big Green. But there's at least a dozen others in this country that are wildly weirder than that.
Yeah, so like Cal Santa Barbara, the Gauchos. I like that one. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is the Banana Slugs.
The Banana Slugs.
Yeah, those are some good. There's some good team nicknames out there.
My preferred one is Ole Miss, who were the Rebels.
Yes.
And then when they were told they couldn't be the Rebels anymore because of no Southern heritage allowed, they had a game and they decided to name themselves after the Star Wars rebels.
Yeah, they tried to get Admiral
That's
Akbar
great.
as
Admiral
their
Akbar is their
and Lucas Studios quashed that. So
Yep.
bastards.
I'll throw in my alma mater, if I may.
Yep.
You guys have probably never heard of IUP, but
Yeah.
Indiana
Pennsylvania.
University of Pennsylvania, my wonderful college. I am an alumni of there. And they used to be the Indiana Big Indians.
Interesting.
As you can imagine,
That name's
is
changed.
no longer the case. They
Right.
are now the Indiana Crimson Hawks.
Oh, it's Santa Cruz.
There
Crimson
you go.
Hawks?
Yeah,
Wow.
Crimson Hawks.
I've been fact checked. It's UC Santa Cruz that are the banana slugs. University of Missouri at Kansas City are the kangaroos. I like that one.
Kangaroos. That's great. I love that one.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I like is that, all right, obviously IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, but there's also Indiana Christian University of Pennsylvania, which is ICUP. So I'll be here all week.
Oh my heavens!
Lord. We've officially gone off the
I think
rails.
Jerry Sandusky went there.
And to think we were here to talk about politics.
But you were making the point that there do need to be changes to college football going forward. One, reseeding the way that they do the playoffs. I do think eventually they're going to go to a 2014 playoff, only because of money. I think people are going to see that extra round, and they're going to see money, and they're going to want that money, especially for the extra home game for some of those teams. The other thing is they've got to get rid of the transfer portal, December transfer portal. When you are allowing kids to move universities in December, when you're in the middle of your bowl season and in the middle of your playoffs, it makes no sense. Move it back into January and let that happen. I do understand that there's some, you want to get into the new university for the new semester and move that way, but I think they're cutting off their nose to spite their face by keeping the transfer portal window in December. Eventually, you're going to see a team lose like a backup quarterback or an important cog in their machine. I mean, we saw it hit one team so bad this year they had to give up their bowl game. That's Marshall. They're most of their team entered the transfer portal. They won the Sun Belt Conference and couldn't go to their bowl game because they didn't have enough players.
Yeah, I mean, right, exactly. Daryl's getting there as well. It's there is certainly a conflict around that stuff. I'm not sure exactly what the easiest answer is, but probably, I don't know.
I mean, it would be like if the NHL allowed free agency to happen in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, that just makes no sense to me at all.
Right. Yeah, they're going to have to redo something. I kind of have a feeling that they're going to have to find a way to make the regular season be part of the playoffs in a way that, certain things come along the way and you're 4 games in. Sorry, you lost a game here. You're not going to be able to qualify or something along the way.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be bigger than what's going on. I was happy to see Michigan beat Alabama, though. Because, of course, Michigan beat Ohio State pretty good, too. And that's the other thing that I do like about college football, right? You never know what's going to happen in a blood rival game. You just never know. And so
anything could happen.
Here we go. Any one of these teams could win the national championship, except for Penn State.
Well, let's certainly hope. Let's certainly hope that Notre Dame, and I'm here in State College, but let's hope that Notre Dame takes them out this week.
I yeah, I think Notre Dame's got a shot. I think Penn State is the weakest of the four teams. Um,
I
Ohio,
actually I like
Well,
yeah,
Penn
in
State
Penn
better than
State,
Notre
let's
Dame.
just throw this out. They decided just yesterday, they play, of course, in Beaver Stadium.
right.
Let's
Yep.
just, yeah, Beaver. Uh, they decided
I'd like to get in the middle of that one.
we no longer need our press box. So what did they do yesterday? They detonated their press box off of the stadium yesterday.
That's pretty awesome. That's
I
pretty
mean,
metal.
it kind of was cool to watch. It's the ugliest stadium imaginable. There's no symmetry to it. I don't know how it ever came to be, what the hell it is, but it
It's
is
probably
definitely.
just been built on and expanded.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
like 100 years, and it's a monstrosity. You drive up I-99, it's like, what the hell is that? And there it is. But yeah, they blew off the one side. They detonated and blew off the press box yesterday.
That's pretty cool. Um, so we can end sports talk, I guess.
Yeah. Let's move on
Everyone's all
to
hyped up to do political stuff. So let's the purpose of this episode was to talk about resolutions. Dan, what are your resolutions going in? And people feel free to drop your resolutions in the chat and we'll talk
Yes,
about them. But
please.
I was pretty happy with the phrase I turned on Facebook where I said, I want to try to be more like the people that I admire so that I can then learn to admire myself more. And, there's something to that. I think that we all benefit from being happier with the people that we are, but also, oh, look, my brother's commenting.
nice.
But
Jeremy?
we also, you know, should recognize the people in our lives who do amazing things, and that we pick and choose from everybody we see. In many ways, the personalities in our lives are the palette of the paint that we use to paint our own. I was talking with a friend of mine who made a comment on it, and this is a guy I disagree with politically, but I really admire him greatly. I think I want my sense of justice to be more strongly molded on his. He's a hardcore Democrat, and I think that in many ways he is a lot more empathic, a lot more feeling about what's going on. And so, I have this list of people that I admire, and I want to take traits from them. That's my resolution. The other one is to be thinner. I want to do whatever it takes this year. I'm going to try to find a way to get the shot, one of the shots. I don't know which one. How has that been working for you, Dave? By the way,
Oh, the Ozempic
yeah,
stuff? Yeah, it's been working good. Of course, I started the year probably around 260 and I'm down to 225.
Way to
that's pretty
go.
awesome.
And that is one of my goals this
I mean,
year
for
is to get
5
under.
days, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean last year?
Yeah, last year. Last
Gotcha.
year.
You said start of
Um,
the year, and I'm like, wow.
wow. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean that's part of my goal is to I haven't been under 200 pounds since the
Yep.
first Bush administration.
Right.
So that's, weight goal is that, and I want it to be more organic. I don't want it to be this, I'm starving myself to death type deal. But
Well, I was going to ask.
Ozempic works, but the problem is my insurance company sent me an email and said that all Ozempic now has to be pre-authorized, has to go through pre-authorization, even though you've had it for a while. So now I got to go through,
Well,
jump through hoops, and
it's
start
interesting.
publishing the name of the CEO on
Are
Twitter.
you in a high deductible plan? Do you have an HSA?
I've got a HSA separate.
Well,
It's not a
not
high deductible
not
plan.
separate. You have to, in order to have an HSA, you have to be in the high deductible plan. There's an FSA, the flexible savings account,
Yeah, that's
HSA,
what I
health
meant.
savings
Flex
account.
spending.
You have an FSA?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So those things are different. Um, it is so you can pay for your Ozempic or whatever from your HSA.
Yeah.
And then where you can really start to think about things is the men's health companies that are out there, the Roman Hims, etc. They are selling semaglutides
Yep.
at $200 a month, which you tell me I could pay $2,400 and be 50 pounds lighter for this show next year.
Yeah.
I'd happily do it. Happily. I'd throw in a finger, which is also a novel way to lose weight.
Yeah, it is.
So, but the other thing about it is it's not enough to just do that.
No.
Got to throw some walking in. Got to throw, some other things.
Stress actually takes off a lot of weight too.
I I am not good at accumulating stress. I don't know what happened along the way, but
Well, Dan, you
stuff's like
must be just wiser.
I think what it is I'm stupider, right? Nobody sleeps as peacefully as an idiot. So
Dan, I'll tell you what. I used to stress over so many things. I used to try so hard to please everybody, including my ex.
yep,
There was so much wasted energy. When I finally decided to just relax, get closer to my maker, be good to myself, my heavens, uh, the wasted energy just dissipated away.
right.
There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I mean, that's a topic that we've talked on a little bit on the show, but there's certainly times that I have, you know, thought about, sort of, that you have to be sort of careful in the way that you phrase these things, especially since we're on YouTube and other streaming platforms. But, I think that for a lot of people, they think, an end to worrying in my life wouldn't be so bad.
Mhm.
If I didn't have to worry about things
Well,
anymore.
Dan, if I may say so, I mean,
Yep.
didn't the Lord, I have a close relationship with my Lord. I don't beat it on people. It is what it
Sure.
is. Didn't he say you cannot extend your life a second by worry? He doesn't want us to worry. He wants us
Right.
to rely on him. And I've given up worry a long, long time ago because it was detracting from my life.
I
Yeah.
mean,
No, I
worry
think
is power. You're giving somebody else
Yes,
power over your life.
absolutely.
Right.
Worry and fear. Worry and fear.
And I'm still on my mental health journey right now, but for me, it's like the thing that I'm learning right now is to eschew those people that have brought trouble to my life.
Absolutely. Dave, you're saying something great here. First of all, you just said you're under 200 pounds, right?
No, no, no. That's my goal for the end of the year is to get
Okay.
under
You and me
200. I'm at
both.
225 right now.
I'm at 215 right now. I would love to get to 199. It is a goal. It's actually been a goal for more than a year, and I think I'll get there this year. But you're right about eschewing the negative people. People in the Mises Caucus were particularly unkind to me. I've forgiven them all, even though they were unjust, they were uncaring, they were cruel, and yet you need to let that go because it eats you up alive, and I have no time for that. um, we need to embrace that in all of our lives if we can forgive people. um,
I
we help them, but we also help ourselves.
I wrote something about that today as well. I talk about, I'm not a scriptural person, but as you would imagine, I know a lot of scripture. Um, and the whole idea of sort of turn the other cheek
Mhm.
is larger than just it comes down to, again, it is a worry thing. Don't let it bother you that somebody slapped you in the face. Turn the other cheek. And then, the next step to that for me is that, and if the person slaps you again, then kill that motherfucker.
Ha! Yeah.
I mean, I'm turning the other cheek, but that's as I'm preparing the backhand for the response, the
Yeah, I mean,
responsorial backhand.
well, so let's take this then into a political realm, because we are in a place right now where 50% of the country feels like they've been slapped in the face. Actually, I think 100% of the country feels like they've been slapped in the face. And everybody's deciding right now if they want to turn the other cheek or if they're going to respond.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you're right. They're all looking at it, be they the Trump people who see they've won the election, the
Yep.
non-Trump people who wane that they lost, but they're all saying, like, who be the slapper? Who be the slapper? Who do I vote against? And sometimes
Well,
we
it
just
changes.
have to know.
I think 2020 people were fed up with the years of Trump. You get Biden coming in there promising all the good things, and by a narrow margin, he gets enough votes to win the election.
Mhm.
4 years later, people saw what happened under Biden, didn't trust the economic policies, didn't have a great trust in the Democrats delivering anything, and just enough of them melted back towards the Republicans. Actually, it really was more people stopped participating because you saw there's like 10 million less votes in the election in 24 than you saw in 2020. So
2020 is 2020 is a bellwether. I mean, it's a high water mark, and a lot of it had to do with ease of
vote
voting
from
access,
home, yeah,
COVID, all that other stuff, which I'm not complaining about. I would have preferred to see that stick around more, but here we have this scenario where I truly do believe that most Trump voters wouldn't be voting for Trump if the Democrats had given them what they consider a reasonable alternative. But they didn't feel like they had it.
No, they didn't at all.
Whatever is the window that they see the Democratic Party through.
Well,
the Democrats had a perception of being way out there, of being, the AOCs, of being, the Bernie Sanders,
or
can't
the
remember.
the third parties, right, Dan? I mean, let's face it, they had 4 years ago, they had a great choice in Joe Jorgensen. This year, they had a great choice in Chase Oliver. Fantastic choice. Pure personal.
A party that sabotaged them at every step. So
yeah, if I turn around, I don't necessarily. Well, I do blame the two parties because they do everything to keep third parties out. But I also, in the biggest way, I blame the electorate. The electorate constantly says, hey, I'm an independent. And they constantly say, hey, we need a third party, or maybe two or three of them. And when the time comes, they never have the courage to step to the plate and vote for any third party. They always go with one of the two bad choices. They're totally brainwashed. I'm most disappointed in the electorate more than anything else.
And well, I mean, there's also a fear of unknown. Like people don't know. You reach out to the average American voter and ask him, what does the Libertarian Party stand for? What does and you might even you're going to get varying answers even if you ask registered libertarians.
Yeah, no.
Same thing with the Green Party. Same thing with the Pirate Party.
Well, but
you guys are both smart men. You guys, look, we all came from somewhere. I came from the evil Republicans before I figured out.
No, I was also a Republican.
And you guys, I'm sure, are the same. When smart people like you think about things and say, damn it, I'm not going to vote this way anymore. That's what makes the difference. I'm amazed that 98% of the population can't get themselves to that. They choose to take sides and be brainwashed, and that makes me extremely disappointed in them.
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
it is. Daryl's right there with the winner take all. I mean, that really drives the choice that people want to pick the winner. And I
Right.
don't get why I mean, you don't win anything if you pick the winner. It's not like you're betting on this and you
Right.
get a windfall
Right.
for doing it.
Exactly.
But people are making that choice that, well, I picked the winner, so I'm smarter than everyone else. And
Well, but also it comes around to that idea of sort of turning the other cheek, and you feel like if I'm on the winning side, I get to do the slapping over the next 4 years. I will be part of the people who I won't be part of the people who are getting slapped because I voted for the winner. And
although if you're getting your butt cheek slapped, that
it
You're
that
getting your
changes things.
face slapped. That's all they're
that's
getting.
well.
Is their face slapped.
So then there was a good political commercial in the Massachusetts in the Cycle and said, run by a libertarian, where he said, choosing between a Republican and Democrat is like choosing between getting kicked in the balls and getting kicked in the ass. It doesn't really matter.
I'd rather get kicked in the ass, having been kicked in the balls before.
Yeah, me
fair.
too.
There's a choice. There's a bad choice and there's a less bad choice.
Let's face it,
And that's what people are making is the less bad choice.
They always say if you want to be tough, you better grow a set. Hey, we've all had our set kicked on, but you know what? You better grow a vagina because those things can take a pounding. Yes, they can.
Oh my God.
There's the South Park obvious thing. I won't do it. The in America.
I stole it. My best material is never original.
The cycling back around though. So we have this thing, and it's about to get pretty bad because I do think that Trump is going to commute the sentences of most of the January 6th people.
Oh yeah.
I saw that. I saw that interview. I believe he's definitely going to do Ross.
If he does, I'll be surprised. He promised he would, but he's a liar. If he does, I'll be surprised.
He had 4 years to do it.
I would say it wasn't even on his radar. We could say whatever the hell we want. Ross was not on his radar.
Nope, not at all.
From 2016 to 2020.
And why is that? You got to ask, why is that? Because he's not a personal liberty guy. Period.
It's not that. We had no way to reach him. Nick and I wrote letters and tried to get them onto his desk, but we didn't have the connection that made it possible for him to really understand what we were asking for when we asked for that part of it.
I guess I'd go further and say, if he was a personal liberty guy, he didn't need your letters. He would have already known about Ross.
But Trump isn't commuting him. Yeah, Trump isn't really a liberty guy.
No,
Trump is a Trump guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's a personal guy. He's not looking out for individual liberties. If my individual liberties are going to constrain his, he's not in favor of that.
Nope.
He doesn't want his liberties constrained. I mean, he is a markets guy, I think, because he recognizes the fact that markets are the places where he can manipulate things, where he can use eminent domain and other powers of law because he knows how to manipulate the system. But there's a great little clip. You've probably seen it going around, where Dave Chappelle is talking about why black people voted for Trump. He said, here's this debate where Hillary Clinton, confronts Donald Trump, and she says, he doesn't pay any taxes. Donald Trump says, of course I don't pay any taxes. Most of your friends don't pay any taxes either. The system is set up so that the wealthy people who support government don't pay any taxes. I took advantage of the system. Why didn't you, Hillary Clinton, when you were a senator, make it so that I did have to pay taxes,
Exactly.
so that all of your friends had to pay taxes.
And I'm a CPA. I've
Yep.
worked with the tax code all my life. There's nothing wrong with working the tax code to your advantage legally, and
Yeah.
they allow that. And so whenever anybody gripes about that, I say, well, fine, write your congressman, change the tax code.
Exactly. I mean, one of the things, we talk about all the time is that, the maximum that you can put into a personalized 401k is $68,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the opportunity to do it, do that. Don't take salary. Just put all your
Absolutely.
money into that thing. And
Yes.
all these other opportunities that are out there for people who own their businesses, et cetera, to avoid taxes. But what Chappelle said is like, and there it was. Why do black people vote for Trump? Because Trump is the first person to say the system is 100% rigged, and it's rigged in favor of people who look like him. Is that Hillary Clinton? The Democrats, they never say that.
That has an appeal.
That was one of the things that I actually liked about his administration. The first time was the changes to the tax system that didn't allow rich people in the
Getting rid of
Northeast and
deductions.
California to take their deductions off of their federal income taxes, their high state income taxes, which really shined a light on the abuses of state government in some of these states.
Right.
Because now you're actually having to pay those taxes and not being able to write them off.
Well, right.
Your
And
federal
in many
taxes.
respects, you have states that have taxes that are supporting these large services, but they're doing it by not paying their fair share of federal income tax.
Yeah.
The higher your state income tax is until 2016, 2017, the less you were paying in federal income taxes. And so it's fair to say that that was unfair. Yet,
Sure.
so here we are again, circling around to this thing that we have this slap in the face that's been returned, right? There is Trump is coming into office. He's going to pardon some really terrible people. He said, specifically on BET, they asked him if he would pardon the people who assaulted police officers, and he said yes, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And so, how does the country recover from that? How do we stop the cycle? Because part of the turn the other cheek idea is that you stop the cycle by turning the other cheek. The idea of an eye for an eye. Or if I throw another scripture in, another quote from scripture, right? A soft answer turns aside a flock of wrath. How do we do that? How do we advocate for that here in this scenario where people are going to be pretty pissed off over the next month?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
I don't either. And but the solution has to come. And we can look at the future. I mean, next year we start our 250th anniversary. Maybe we the things calm down there. I don't know because it's going to be a hot garbage with Trump in charge of the celebrations.
It's gonna be it's gonna be pretty crazy.
Wouldn't you
I
feel
mean,
more? Wouldn't you feel more comfortable if it was good old Lee Iacocca renovating the Statue of Liberty in charge of the celebrations?
I mean, I worry that Trump is going to have McDonald's cater the what is it?
Hey, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know what the word is for 250th semi-cinquentennial.
sesquicentennial.
What is it?
Sesquicentennial.
Sesquicentennial, yes.
Are you sure? Because I think
I believe.
sesquicentennial is 150 years, just because Texas
Well,
celebrated it. But
correct me if I'm wrong then.
sesquicentennial. Come on. Who will know this is ChatGPT. What is the
Oh, that is
word?
the 150th. That's right.
Yeah.
So what is the quarter century or quarter millennia? There we go.
Sesquicentennial is
Sestra?
250th.
Sestra?
Sester, Sester.
Can you type that
Sesquicentennial.
into the chat, please, so we can all see it?
Can you
Yeah.
use it in a sentence?
Yes.
If you are
let's see.
traveling from
Next year
Cleveland
is the
at
sesquicentennial.
150 miles an hour,
I got it.
Sesquicentennial happens while you are traveling from Boston at 250 miles an hour.
Right. The yeah. So as my brother
That's
points
good.
out, he also
Thank you,
knows
sir.
as a Texas native.
Sesquicentennial. That's great.
Sesquicentennial. Texas celebrated its sesquicentennial in 95 because obviously Texas became an independent country before it joined the Union. And it was on the license plate. And we used to joke that the longest word that every Texan knew was sesquicentennial because it was on the license plate.
Daryl, the Jester Centennial is going to be on January 20th.
It will be with the Insane Clown Posse.
Let's not insult this insane clown posse. I did call the Mises folks the insane clan posse, but
Oh, that's a good name for them. They're the Insane Posse.
all right. Any other Joe? What do you got for resolution this year?
Resolution. Mine are always somewhat the same. I'm trying to work on my own self-improvement, especially spiritually. I could talk about all the incidental stuff, but it really isn't remotely important.
All right.
My other resolution is going to be 1080p. Sorry, I couldn't.
Was that snare drums I just heard?
Yes.
But
Rim shot. Yeah. Eventually, we'll get more than 1080p, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Well, so it's funny because I have cut the cord.
Got to have a lot more P.
I have cut the cord, and I'm getting broadcast television from DC now, which is pretty good. But it's the first time that I actually have been constrained by using a projector. Because to buy a projector that is higher quality than 1080p, because broadcast HD, is the next level up. It's better quality than what you get over cable. That's pretty good, Sean.
I thought that was a taint.
Exactly. Daryl's got it right. 4K is better than 1080p. But you can't get 4K brought over the network.
Lots
They're
of
just not going to they're not going to give you that much bandwidth. Which is why if you're ever in a television store, you think, "Wow, that picture looks amazing." It's because you're watching it in 4K over broadcast instead of over cable or whatever.
Yeah.
But my projector is 1080p. It's not 4K. So even though I'm getting a 4K signal, it's downscaled for my projector, which is too bad. But maybe I'll upgrade my projector. And 8K is out there. There are 8K televisions out there. And our friend, David Demarest, owns the first 8K satellite channel. I keep thinking we can use that for libertarian politics. And then I remember, the party went to shit.
This is true. LPTV is no more, I don't think.
We are in a much better place. But David's a wonderful guy.
Dave's a great guy. No question about it.
So what is his channel? Like, I have never heard of an 8K channel.
Well, so it's hard to get. I think it is on Roku. And they don't have any content. Remember, I'm trying to think. At one point in time, there was talk about putting something up on it, but we never got around to it. When I was executive director of the Libertarian Party, was going to try to put something up on 8K, but nobody's receiving 8K anywhere. There are 8K televisions now, though, so who knows?
Yeah, that's a lot more P.
It is a lot more P. If you're interested in the,
if you're into that,
Indiana Christian University Pennsylvania. ICUP.
You're killing us, Dad. You're killing us.
Well, so I have to tell one of my dad's jokes from my childhood. I don't know if any of you guys have got this. I'm going to think, Joe, you might.
Try.
There used to be a grocery store chain, Atlantic and Pacific, known as the A&P.
A&P, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember the AMPs.
And they were, especially in the Northeast, they were really big until they sort of went away and were
Probably got
replaced.
merged.
Yeah. And the Verge, and eventually it was Stop and Shop that really took their place and drove them out of business. And my dad said, well, I think they're going to merge Stop and Shop and A&P, and it'll be Stop and P. So,
I mean, back in God, this was probably 90.
Stop and P.
No, 94, 95 time frame. I was in a computer science class, and was the big players back then were Netscape and Yahoo.
Yes.
And the professor was telling us that big news this morning. The two biggest players in computer in internet are merging, and they're moving their headquarters to Jerusalem, and they're going to be called Net and Yahoo.
Net and Yahoo. That's great. It's funny what you said about A&P. I remember those so well. There was one in my hometown. That seems so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, I remember A&Ps, but I was more surrounded by the IGAs, and they're still around. There's a few that are still out there floating around.
I remember our old A&P. It became A&P WEO. Then it was IGA for the longest time before I moved out of town. And I also remember the advent of Sheets. Sheets Quick Shopper. And now it's just Sheets.
Sheets is everywhere.
Here. People would stop off at Sheets. And I thought, why somewhere along the way, somebody should have come up with a line of quick stores called Stop Off and Boff. That would have been wonderful. That would have connected to a lot of people. Stop Off and Boff.
And Boff. There we go.
Yes. Boff, Boff.
All right. What are your favorite convenience stores? Have you, Dan or Joe, have y'all done Buc-ee's yet?
I've been to a Buc-ee's.
It's funny you say that. I drove to Florida and back less than a month ago to visit my daughter. I went right past Buc-ee's. I want to say it's somewhere in North Carolina. And I knew that it was a destination, that it was something you're supposed to see. I did not pull off. Maybe next time. I could have pulled off and Boff, but I didn't. And next time might be the right time.
I went to Buc-ee's. My wife took me there. I went and visited her in Georgia last summer, and was driving her back up to our home in West Virginia, and we went to Buc-ee's, and I could have spent a whole lot more money there.
It's funny you say that. I know my friend Kevin Gaughan, he mentioned stopping at Buc-ee's and what an experience it was. On a lesser note, I want to mention, as I came north, I made absolutely sure I stopped at a Royal Farms just to get chicken. They have phenomenal chicken, and I'll stop at Royal Farms every time.
Yeah, I actually got a Royal Farms, a couple of Royal Farms. They're kind of expanding their presence in my area.
Yeah, too.
I do like their chicken. They don't have as much selection as say a Sheets does, or what's the other big one here? Wawa.
Yeah.
Reuters. Reuters doesn't really have a big a selection, although they've got some really phenomenal eggnog and chocolate milk.
In general, for a convenience store, I don't want anything special. Like I like small convenience stores in Texas generally sell their own iteration of beef jerky. I like that because it's not like, a larger thing.
Bucky's have got 4 billion
Bucky's,
varieties.
right. I mean, Bucky's rocked that. They own beef jerky.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's pretty
but-
good. I mean, it's not the best jerky I've ever had, but it's pretty good.
Well,
yeah.
and Royal
Wawa,
Farms definitely
like-
has the best chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to point out that John Waldenberg is correct that there is a convenience store called Come and Go.
Yes, there is.
Insane.
Only John would know that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a chain.
Yeah, I think it's like in Wisconsin, I believe.
The thing that I do like though is I want a convenience store that has really fast in and out for me, so that I can get in there.
That's
buy my
Come and Go.
coffee. Yeah, well, exactly.
Well,
Buy my coffee
I
or
always want
whatever.
to get in.
I
I
mean,
always
really,
want to get in and get out.
The
Relatively.
only time I don't go to convenience stores except when I'm doing a long road trip. Like I'm
Yeah.
never there otherwise.
Mhm.
There is a 7-Eleven around the corner. Not around the corner, but one of the closest stores to me, like within 10 miles of my house, is a 7-Eleven. And I will sometimes buy water there because I like to keep a lot of water bottles in my truck. Even though outside of my truck, I've tried to move away from plastic water bottles, single-use water bottles. In my truck, I tend to keep a case of water just for whatever reason. Eat here, get gas is very funny.
So that's the. I mean, it's not the tagline for my favorite all-time convenience store. Very near and dear to my heart. Many drunken nights spent there in college. Allsup's in West Texas and New Mexico.
I don't know that at
The
all.
burritos there, deep fat fried burritos.
Wow.
We call them gut grenades.
Wow.
And they were absolutely amazing. Every time I go to Albuquerque, there's still an Allsup's, a couple Allsup's there that, in fact, one that's clean. I need to go see that one that just opened. But yeah, the burritos at Allsup's and the chimichangas. If you're feeling bougie, you get the chimichangas.
Yeah.
But if for
Dave, that's something
hangover avoidance burritos.
Dave, you've just mentioned chimichangas and bougie in the same sentence. That's amazing.
That's the New Mexico conversation there.
I mean, it is. I mean, you're in New Mexico,
right
college student. Bougie is chimichanga.
Daryl's right. I do love Cumberland Farms. Cumberland Farms. But again, the thing that I want out of almost all of these places is a good, fast cup of coffee. And then occasionally I will buy there's a lot of questionable food at the at convenience stores. And I'll tell a story about a person that I don't like. When we were down at Deming, and we actually went over the border into through Columbus into Paloma, it was me and Tom Mann and Pat Ford. And Pat Ford made a stop at a 7-Eleven so that he could eat a couple of those hot dogs. And I was like, oh my God. And those are just terrible looking.
Rip your toilet.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Good
exactly.
God.
Right. I mean, that is right. You deserve everything you get.
Wait a minute. Was the 7-Eleven in Mexico or in...
No, 7-Eleven was like 5 miles before the border.
Okay.
And
Still.
It was just, it was insane.
I mean, I don't trust the 7-Elevens here.
Now, that being said, I will eat convenience store egg salad.
Jesus Christ.
I can't explain.
Can you get food poisoning? Is that, I mean, some people are just built differently and you don't get food poisoning.
You know what it is that it's so rare to find egg salad on a menu anywhere else. And so I see egg salad in one of the sandwiches, and then
those little triangle sandwiches.
Right, the egg salad that they make it because it's really easy, right? They drop up 100 hard-boiled eggs, throw in some mayonnaise, and just stick it on bread. But it's not hard to make your egg salad, as we say in New Mexico, bougie.
Bougie. It's no bougie egg salad.
By getting relish from the hot dog
relish.
thing. Exactly. And you squeeze the relish onto your egg salad, And you got some bougie egg salad there.
You have
Bougie.
leveled up your egg salad by
Exactly.
adding the relish.
All right, so
It is to be relished.
I got a story for you too, if I
All right.
may. So in the Pittsburgh area, there used to be a chain of convenience stores called Kogo's. Okay.
All right.
And they've now evolved. They're now Cohen's. But back when they were Kogo's, and mind you, I had young children at that time, I'm picking up my kids from Montessori school, and we're driving along in my Dodge Dynasty. And all of a sudden, my little girl in the back seat says, "Hey, Dad, can we get a candy bar?" So I pull into Kogo's, right? And I pick up a couple of Nestle's Crunch bars for them, right? You with me so far?
Yep.
At that time, Nestle's Crunch was featuring on their candy wrappers the astronauts that landed on the moon, which was a big time for me, big time.
Sure.
And so I get a couple of Nestle's Crunch bars, gas up the car. We're on our way home, and a couple miles down the road, I've got Christine and Pat back in the back seat in their car seats, and Pat, Christine's eating away, and Pat's just looking at his candy bar and at this picture of this astronaut saluting the American flag. He knew I was really big into the space program, so he says, "Hey, Dad, is this you?" And I couldn't resist. I said, "Yeah, that's me. I was one of the 12 men who landed on the moon." And he's looking at this candy bar. He's going, "Wow!" And it just ends right there, right? Okay. Fast forward about a week. Just dropped them off at Montessori school, right? And I'm leaving the school. I got to get to my own office, my accounting practice. And as I'm heading out to the car, this one teacher, Mrs. Carbaum, well, her actual name was Mrs. Carl Blom, but none of the kids could pronounce it. So it was Mrs. Carbaum. She comes running out.
IRA loved that.
Mr. Solosky, is it true that you were in the space program? And I'm like, oh my God. He told everybody about the candy bar. And
Of course.
At that moment, they all thought I was in the space program just because of the Nestle's Crunch. Just thought I'd share it.
You should have just said, "No, ma'am, I'm just a space cadet."
They should have known that.
Well, I think that was a huge opportunity lost when they started the Space Force, that they don't call their young entry level fighters cadets, because
Right.
that would be awesome.
Space cadets was always a great term.
But
Yeah,
but aren't cadets students at West Point?
they are.
Yes.
They are students at
definitely.
West Point.
Right. So it's right. I think the thing was stolen. The Space Force thing made me think about the fact that just to cycle us around to our last political conversation before the quiz. Well, actually, no, I want to do two things. First, I want to talk about Elon Musk calling out King Charles and telling him to dissolve Parliament, because that was pretty crazy. Are you not aware of this, Dave?
No, actually, I had not heard of this, but
Yep. So
nothing surprises me with Elon Musk. He has really gotten.
Yeah,
He
off
has
the
surrounded
rails.
himself with yes men. Like
Off
that.
the
That's the
rails.
only thing I can think of.
Yeah, so he told he blames Keir Starmer for this for not prosecuting this admittedly pretty terrible pedophile ring that is now coming to light in England and Europe, or the UK and Europe. But it's not like it's really Starmer's fault. At least I don't think
No.
so. And then Musk is also going to do a broadcast on X with the leader of the German far right party. And, when you talk about far right parties, the Germans have really stewed that to perfection.
God, Yeah, the AFD is
AFD, exactly right.
they're a piece of work.
It's going to be interesting because I was thinking about the fact that the hardcore racists, hate mongers, etc. They don't come out at you and say, you know, death to all Jews and etc. etc. They're not overt like that. It's subtle.
Well,
Now
yeah,
it's
I
not
mean
that subtle.
it's that poem. I didn't speak up for
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
gays and lesbians because I wasn't one, and I didn't speak up for the trade unionists because I wasn't one. And then they came for me, and it's like, well,
Yeah, there's
what are you willing to tolerate in the name of government overreach?
there's I think a friend of mine posted. I can go back and find it, but Elon Musk has been engaging in this sort of subtle level of racism that ties back around to what I was talking about earlier, where we talk about how you know you can use statistics however you want.
Yeah,
The fact that according to the FBI, 52% of the murders in the United States are committed by black people doesn't mean that black people are more inclined to commit murder. It's a statistic that is an aberration. Correlation does not
causation.
causality.
Yeah.
But there's all this stuff that's going on right now, and Musk is pushing a lot of these statistics. And then they say, I'm just asking questions.
Where have we heard that before?
Exactly. Then the I'm just asking questions is one of those iterations where, it's meant to be a cover for,
Oh God,
yeah, exactly.
Ben Weir, that bastard. Oh shit, Justin Trudeau's resigning as PM of Canada tomorrow. What? Does that mean he's calling an election, like a snap election?
Yeah. I don't know. Does he have to get permission from the Queen?
Well, from the Governor General. Oh, it's
Yeah,
snowing here. Yay.
that's interesting. I'm
Um,
surprised at that. I mean, Trudeau is
the news is broken.
the news is broken. When news breaks, we fix it. Joe, you muted yourself somehow. You have
Yeah,
muted yourself
you're
somehow,
muted,
Joe.
but it doesn't show you as muted.
Yeah,
I'm not anymore.
that's good.
There we go.
So what I'm saying is the Justin Trudeau thing, does that tie into our quiz for the week?
Maybe it
It
does.
does
I
not.
don't think it will though, because it's just
Ah,
happening right now. I'm going to guess. I will say one of my favorite. Yes, cue the breaking news music. Bum 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 bum. Um, One of my favorite memes with Justin Trudeau was the PM steal your girl meme.
Oh my God, the way that Ivanka Trump looked at
Uh,
Justin Trudeau.
every woman,
What?
every woman is in fact. I'm not even kidding. People who are in front of a computer right now, or if Dave will allow me to share pictures. Let's see if I can find it.
I think you can share pictures.
Let's see. Yeah, here we go.
I'll stop sharing. I've got the quiz up. We're going to actually have a much tougher quiz this week.
Oh, good. What are
It's
we
the
doing?
BBC News quiz. So we're going to have BBC stuff.
Yeah, good. I can do that. All right. So here we go. Right. First, there's Ivanka. The way that she's looking at Justin here. Right. That's pretty crazy. But now look at this. Right. Princess Kate. Right.
Kate Middleton,
This
yeah.
is
I mean,
insane. Right. I mean, she's a princess. She's overwhelmed by him. And then obviously here is,
Emma Watson, yeah.
Hermione Granger. And then, of course, Donald Trump also
Donald Trump.
fascinated by Justin Trudeau. I mean, I will look at it. This is a good looking man, right? No
Oh, he
question.
is. Have you heard the conspiracy theories about Justin Trudeau actually being Fidel Castro's son?
No, I have not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet. I'm just willing to bet he's Pierre Trudeau's son. I'm just guessing.
Well, he doesn't look a whole lot like Pierre.
Right. And so what they're
And
saying is that during some trip, Fidel romanced Mrs. Trudeau.
yeah.
I'm not
And-
seeing a lot of Fidel in him. I'm really not.
When he had the beard during COVID, he not that he looked a ton like Fidel Castro.
I think that what happened is that the Castro rumor started because he was being accused of infidelity.
Oh God.
I'll be here all
But
week.
yeah, I mean, every one of those pictures, he was getting eye fucked by those girls.
Yeah,
like,
it's amazing.
and Donald Trump.
Right.
So,
Well, all right. So
Yeah.
let's do our BBC quiz because I'm ready.
Yes. Let's do that.
oh my
For
God.
people who haven't played before,
BBC is for the British Broadcasting Corporation, you perverts. Just remember
exactly. It does not mean big. All right. Well,
It means
anyway.
it means big broadcast news.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me hide the chat.
So I can't read that print for the life of me.
I can't read either.
It's so
in the print, sorry.
small.
All right. Question number 1. And I will, I don't know if I can make it bigger.
Lions spanked the Vikings.
Ooh. Well, did the Vikings have anything to play for?
Yeah. It was
yeah.
whoever won that game had home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs.
So the Lions won?
The Lions are up 31-9 with 4 minutes left.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, question number 1. People around the world celebrated with music, parties, fireworks as they marked the arrival of 2025. Which European capital had to cancel many of its official events owing to bad weather? And let's not use context clues here because that's a picture of Sydney.
It's exactly what I was going to say. It's so incredibly misleading to have this
I
picture
know.
here.
But Edinburgh, London, or Paris?
I'll say Edinburgh.
I'm going to say that Edinburgh doesn't count as a capital.
Oh, you are going to get...
I'm just saying.
They said which
done it.
city. They didn't say which capital.
No, it does. It says which European capital.
Capital, yeah.
Cancel many of
I'm
its
still
official
going with
events.
Edinburgh.
I mean, Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. The question is, right, is the thing. I mean, if you were going to guess based on bad weather, maybe London or Edinburgh is most likely. But I didn't hear anything about it. My brother
I
says
didn't
London.
either. Oh, let's do it.
All right.
No.
It was
It
Edinburgh.
was
Joe.
Edinburgh.
Sorry.
Organizers canceled all outdoor.
Yep.
I did see the Hogmanay festivities canceled. All right, so
Joe
met off
Solosky
this
won.
yellow
Joe
warnings for wind and rain.
Everybody else, 0.
Wow.
Baker Island. That's interesting. I knew that Kiribati was first. I didn't know that Baker Island was last. This one,
Kiribati actually moved their time zone to be first. That they did that for 2000.
yeah, they have a thing like this. Well,
Yeah.
they did it for 2000. Actually, I was grateful because me and probably 1,000 other computer professionals were monitoring systems over the internet in Kiribati, seeing what happened when their clocks turned over.
I know. I mean, they were the canary in the coal mine for Y2K. And quite honestly, I miss the hysteria over Y2K.
Well,
Because
one of the
it's
things
not
to
as
talk
bad as what we've been going through the last 10
I
years.
think-
So
I think we all missed it, Dave, because it just didn't happen.
right.
yeah.
But the interesting thing about it is that 2025, it's a quarter of a century. We are 1/4 of the way through to Y3K.
Good
Which
point.
is- won't be a problem.
No, Y2100, not
Right.
Y3K.
Right, you're right. Y2100. We're further away from Y3K.
We're a little ways away from Y3K,
Right.
and I won't be here for that. So
Yeah.
all right. Question number 2: Joe Biden, Donald Trump led tributes to former U.S. President, Nobel Peace Prize winner Jimmy Carter, who died at age 100. Before entering politics, he ran a farm in his home state of Georgia, growing what? And we had a couple of correct answers already. Not jelly beans. That would have been Reagan.
Jelly beans is Reagan. Peanuts.
Ronnie Reagan.
Now, let me ask you, has anybody here ever had boiled peanuts?
I don't like boiled peanuts.
I have
Southern
not.
delicacy.
It is. That and putting boiled peanuts in Coca-Colas, too.
Yes. All right.
Question number 3. Which pop artist dominated the UK singles and albums charts in 2024? figures from the British phonographic industry (BPI) revealed Sabrina Carp. God, these English people, what are they writing here? All right,
True or
female pop.
failing reading?
Yeah,
Sabrina Carpenter and Chappelle Roan had breakout years, but which
What
male artist had the
What are
best
the
song
choices?
of 2024? Is it
Benson
Vincent
Boone,
Boone,
Hosier, or Noah
Hosier,
Kahn.
or Noah Kahan?
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
I think it's Hosier.
So Hosier,
Yeah. Whatever, Hosier.
take off, eh?
Take off.
Goo, 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 goo.
Yep. John
All
agrees
right.
with me.
No, it's Noah Kahn. Oh, stick season.
Never
Wow.
heard of them. Never heard of them.
either.
It's
There's
actually a
so
really
much
catchy
crappy
song.
music today. How can you help it?
I do like that song "Stick Season." It's very catchy. It's interesting because he wrote this song in 2022, and it didn't really. I mean, it was kind of popular on TikTok, and then it really hit the charts. And
It's interesting that it's the first time since 1970 that a UK artist was number one.
Who was the one in 1970?
They did not keep the record before that.
I would love to know that.
I bet it's the Beatles.
none of the top 10 best-selling songs were from a UK artist. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's per the BPI, not US record charts. All right, question number 4, I believe. Scientists revealed the UK's biggest ever dinosaur track site when they discovered the quarry in Oxfordshire. The site contains about 200 footprints made from Cesiosaurus. And which other kind of dinosaur?
What kind of dinosaur has sore feet? An ankylosaurus.
Oh. All right, Allosaurus, Gigantosaurus, or Megalosaurus.
The only one I know that is a real dinosaur is Allosaurus.
Yeah, that's the only one I mean, I think there are the Gigantosaurus, but that doesn't look like a Giganto.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Three-toed would mean predator.
Oh, it's the Megalosaurus.
Wow.
Wow, we're doing terrible on this.
We are, but remember, this is British.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're
there is
going to
a
warm up. I watch a lot of British television.
Have
currency conversion between
Have
the
they
pound
gotten
and
to the Monty Python questions yet? I can do well on those.
yeah, so Megalosaurus prints were made 166 million years ago.
Hmm.
Wow, right on. Question number 5. Yeah, 5 of 7. Former England football manager Gareth Southgate, 800 Olympic meter champion Keely Hodgkinson, and actor Stephen Fry were among more than 1,200 people recognized in this New Year's honors list. Who were the 2 youngest people to receive awards?
Scroll down.
Colin Bell and William Ellard, Michaela Barnes and Colin Bell, Michaela Barnes and William Ellard.
It says Beams, you blind son of a bitch.
Is it Beams?
Michaela Beams.
Michaela Beams. Yeah, I am blind. Shit.
Yeah, I don't know. This is tough. They're asking us, is it A,
These are
BC, or AC?
This is above my pay grade.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to guess the middle one. No, nobody knows this. We can just guess it and move on.
oh, John had the last one right. All right, question number 6. Double Olympic champion Beatrice Chebet.
Hey,
Chebet. Not really sure how that's pronounced. Crowned a golden year as she smashed her own women's world record. At which distance did the Kenyan athlete set a new best? 1.5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, or 10 kilometers?
I'll say 1.5.
I'm going to say 10. I don't think there is a 1.5. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think 10.
Oh, 5. Dang.
There you go.
Have we gotten any of them right?
We got the second one right, I think.
All right. Oh, this
All
one.
right. Question number 7 of 7 for a really pathetic score. NASA spacecraft made history by surviving the closest ever approach to the sun. How close did the Parker Solar Probe get to the star's surface? 38,000 miles, 3.8 million miles, or 38 million miles?
3.8 million.
I agree with that.
Hey, we got one.
It's only 93 million miles to Earth, so that's
Wow.
pretty impressive.
That
Moving
is
at
pretty impressive that we got.
430,000 miles per hour.
That's pretty
Fastest
fast.
probe ever accomplished by man. Over 400,000 miles an hour.
That's so cool.
That is
I mean,
amazing.
it still trips me out that Voyager is still out there doing its thing
Waiting to be discovered
all the
by.
way outside V'ger,
Yep.
all the way outside
Danger.
the solar system now, outside the heliopause. So
And that was my generation. Amazing.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, we'll do another show on space when it comes. You know, we're got the Artemis project. I don't think it goes off until I want to say early next year.
Yeah.
The second round of the Artemis project.
I
That one's the
think,
one where they send it around the moon and comes back, and
I think
then the
that,
third one is the one I think is supposed to land on the moon, but
we will not be able to get Neil deGrasse Tyson to come on again after
no.
what happened last time. So,
2 of 7. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
yep. All right. Well, that's fine.
Son of a bitch. Shit.
We are. Carter does have a letter on V'ger. Hey, it's interesting that if I can do a little as Kennedy imitation, we do not choose to go to the moon because it is easy. We choose to go to the moon because it is hard.
Hard.
These things in our generation. Anyway,
Well done.
it's
That's what she said.
yeah, it's an interesting thing. One of the things people talk about with libertarianism all the time is like, who would pay for the moon program, or et cetera, et cetera. Essentially, an iteration of who's going to pay for the roads. But maybe there's something to be said for the idea that the space program would have been a lot better if it had a sustainable reason other than just pure science.
Absolutely.
Because look at the shit that people do. Look at the innovations. It's interesting. My brother's on the line here, and he's sort of loosely been in the petroleum industry for a while as a geophysicist, and the inventions that people have made to get oil, the technological breakthroughs, fracking, these pipes that go down and then go horizontally, the ability to detect oil fields everywhere. Joe and I are old enough to remember when in our childhood they would say, the end of oil is coming. Now there's so much oil in the earth that people have stopped estimating how much oil is left in the earth.
You raised such a good point, Dan. Who would have thought, you could go back to 1974. We're importing all this oil from the Mideast. We're basically held hostage. We dreamed of being energy independent. And here we are today. You've nailed it. We have so much oil. We are the top oil producer in the entire world, more than Saudi Arabia, and we're squandering the opportunity. It's a shame.
It seems like whenever we get to a point where we get closer to energy independence, that OPEC does its machinations to flood the market to lower the price, because that is the competitive advantage that the Middle East has and other oil
It's a
producing
fungible good,
countries, is that it's a lot less uh, expensive to get the petroleum out of the ground, get the petroleum refined, and then send it to the United States than it is for us to do it, to extract it from the oil sands in Canada or extract it from West Texas.
Yeah, I mean, there is, when they talk about, Texas sweet crude,
It is still finite, yes.
Right. One of the reasons that it is that they talk about it that way is how easy it is to refine.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the oil sands is that it's a
It's a
lot of work
bitch.
to get that oil out of there.
Yeah.
And the Saudi oil reserves are just delicious. You could eat that, maybe not, but
Well, it's
it's very clean.
also coupled with the fact that the United States really has not invested in any refinery infrastructure in ages.
Yeah, I
Nor
mean,
nuclear.
Or nuclear. Yeah.
yeah. But my cycle was that my point to the space is that if you look at all the money that's been invested in oil because it pays for itself, if we were finding ways to make space pay for itself, my brother was indeed kidnapped by Indians in Ecuador while doing a survey down there. That's what he's
Jesus.
referencing. But mining the asteroids or bringing back water or all the things that we know of that make space profitable, but we didn't do because the government owned the space. And so why would a commercial venture get in there when they would have to be competing against the government that didn't have to pay bills, any of these things? And so who knows what the next iteration is? I mean, we see it now, right? The most profitable thing that's out there in space is Starlink. And Elon Musk is the wealthiest man in the world because he was the first guy to say, you know what? The government's fucking it up. Don't mind competing with them. I'm going to make space profitable for me. And he
Plus,
did.
the government stepped back too. I mean, that they necessarily saw the writing on the wall, and they didn't want to upkeep a
Well,
expensive shuttle program that
right. I mean,
you know.
in many respects. Well, I mean, there's two parts to Musk stuff, right? And we're going way over here, but there's Starlink, and then there's SpaceX.
Yeah,
SpaceX is just taxi
tourism.
service.
Yeah,
The Starlink is the thing that makes money. Starlink
yeah.
could still happen even without SpaceX, but SpaceX takes away from Europa and I can't remember what the Chinese agency is called and NASA
Yeah.
the ability to say you can't put stuff up into outer space.
Have
Yes,
you ever
Musk did get a fuck ton of subsidies and
ha-
continues to get a fuck ton of subsidies for SpaceX.
have you ever had the chance to watch SpaceNet fly over?
I have not. The International
Oh,
Space
Oh, see
Station.
the string of
it's a
the satellite?
weird it's a
Yeah.
weird thing. My wife and I were in the front yard this past summer, and all of a sudden we watched this identical string of spots flying across the sky, not knowing what it was. Of course, you think you're being invaded. It's got to be aliens. It was SpaceNet. It was their group of satellites, and it just happened to be flying over, and it was a straight line of these spots of light. It was freaky till you knew what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It was I saw it a couple about a year ago, I guess. And probably no, it was probably about this last summer.
Mm.
And it is, you're just like, oh, what the hell is that? You
Yes.
see one point going across the sky, oh, that's a plane, but then and they're much smaller. You're like, man, that has to be really high up. Yeah, that's outside the atmosphere. So,
Wild.
but I we did a show on Elon Musk, and there's and he's gotten worse since that show. Um, he's kind of fully embraced the Hollywood villain role right now.
Yeah. I mean, he has really definitely dug into the idea that he is the person with the flashlight illuminating everything that is wrong and broken in the corrupt government system, when in reality, he's just doing it for popularity.
Absolutely. He's just a toy in their cog.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, another successful, except for the quiz show. Thank you all for joining us. If you're out there on Twitter, Twitch, X, whatever it is, YouTube, Facebook, give us a like, share, subscribe. Thank you for throwing comments out there all night. Jeremy, Daryl, Janice, Craig, Sean, John, all y'all. Thank you so much for commenting. It helps boost us and get the word out there about the show. We will see you all in a week, and we will talk to you all then.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
You bet.